6.4 million Americans sit inside a Level 3 enhanced risk zone for severe weather this Saturday. This outbreak stretches from Kansas City through Springfield, Missouri, and back into Wichita, Kansas this afternoon. A slight risk extends further through northwestern Illinois, Amarillo, Texas, and the entire mid-Mississippi Valley today. The marginal risk reaches Milwaukee, Chicago, and all the way down to Lubbock, Texas. Nobody in the Midwest sits out. Last week delivered a wild and nonstop run of severe weather, and the pattern is doing it all over again right now. A powerful storm system will likely sweep across the central states and bring high-impact weather once again today. I am anticipating a very significant and widespread line of thunderstorms to form later this afternoon into tonight, which means a 30% chance of damaging wind gusts if you live anywhere in the red SPC outlook area. We are talking Kansas City back down towards Tulsa. Wind gusts in that corridor could exceed 75 miles per hour. I honestly think there is a chance of a 45% wind threat once SPC updates this morning. Share your city in the comments right now, and I will cover your specific area throughout this Saturday forecast. The Central Plains and back into the Ozarks region carry an isolated risk of damaging winds across the entire corridor. Very large hail up to tennis ball and baseball size is possible as far east as Milwaukee today. Mainly near Wichita, Kansas City, and Omaha supercells will begin forming during the afternoon hours, which means those supercells eventually upscale into a line of thunderstorms with increasing wind damage tonight. There is also a risk of a few tornadoes, and even a couple of strong tornadoes are on the table Saturday afternoon. We could get changes throughout the morning from the SPC too. Some of these outlooks upgrades are very likely today. The enhanced risk covers eastern Kansas, a small section of southeast Nebraska, and a good chunk of Missouri today. That zone extends all the way down into northwest Arkansas and northeast Oklahoma. That is a very large orange area. A 5% tornado risk covers St. Joseph, Kansas City, and Columbia. Strong tornadoes are on the table. The strong tornado threat stretches from Topeka back into Joplin. EF2 is the reasonable maximum intensity right now. Even near St. Louis, Quincy, Chicago, and Davenport, a low-end isolated tornado chance exists today. Plain and simple, it is critically important to stay weather aware across the entire central United States this Saturday. The slight risk in yellow surrounds the orange zone and extends into lower Michigan and back toward Nashville and Memphis. The tornado threat also extends across the East Coast with a 5% risk from Kansas City through Topeka to Joplin. That brown-hatched area, Lebanon, Columbia, St. Joseph, Manhattan, Kansas, everybody in between, is in the risk zone. A 2% tornado risk covers the broader green area, but notice the black dashed lines where stronger tornadoes lurk. This is where a stronger tornado could develop maybe an EF2, and as always, these tornadoes could be even stronger. The wind threat, that red area, we are definitely going to have damaging winds today across the enhanced risk corridor. Folks, a 30% risk of damaging winds within 25 miles of any given location inside the red zone is very high. The yellow area carries a 15% risk of damaging winds, and the black dashed area means even stronger gusts possible, which means wind gusts exceeding 75 to 80 miles per hour are on the table later this afternoon and into tonight. Now, the hail threat, a 15% risk of hail exceeding 1 inch in diameter, covers the entire core of this system. In the black outlined area, hail exceeding 2 inches in diameter is possible. That is baseball-sized hail impacting vehicles. Heads up, even the lower risk hail areas carry a 5% general chance of large hail hitting your location today. If I had to take my shot today on how this uptrends, I could see a SIG wind risk upgrade. SIG wind means gusts could exceed 85 to 90 miles per hour, and that would happen somewhere in the enhanced risk core. Storms near Springfield and St. Louis will produce isolated large hail and damaging wind gusts through the afternoon. The tornado threat is lower in that southern area, but by 3 to 4 p.m. supercells begin to fire. Those supercells initiate back near Omaha, Des Moines, and Maryville, initially producing large to very large hail, which means downburst damaging wind gusts accompany each supercell tracking southeast across the enhanced risk corridor. Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma viewers, comment your city below for specific Saturday timing throughout this video. I want to pause on the maps and bring in a critical alert that most coverage is not emphasizing enough right now. A flood watch covers southeast Kansas and most of Missouri through Sunday morning starting at 8 a.m. Saturday today. That watch covers Bourbon, Crawford, Cherokee, and Kansas, and 17 Missouri counties including Greene and Christian. Widespread 2 to 4 inches of rainfall with locally higher amounts. Area creeks and streams are already running high, which means flash flooding becomes a genuine companion threat alongside tornadoes and 75 miles per hour winds across this corridor. Low water crossings will flood quickly tonight. Turn around. Do not drown applies to every road in Missouri after sunset. Flooded roads cause more weather fatalities every year than tornadoes. That statistic genuinely surprises most viewers. Thunderstorms already forming in Nebraska and Missouri will diminish through the day before the main event fires Saturday. Looking at the outlook map from St. Louis to Kansas City into Wichita and south, the enhanced risk is centered today. The eastern tip of Nebraska is also inside the enhanced risk zone. Lincoln and Omaha both sit in this corridor. No tornado threat emerges until probably closer to 5 or 6 p.m. That is when rotating supercells become a real concern. This tornado threat stretches from Indiana back into Iowa and Nebraska, a very wide corridor by Saturday evening. At 6 p.m., we will probably have a line of thunderstorms pushing into Indianapolis back through Evansville Saturday night. That line should be mainly damaging winds, but a spin-up tornado or two embedded in the line cannot be ruled out. Tornado potential also exists north of Tulsa back into southern Missouri, where a couple of rotating supercells could develop. Some models have been depicting at least something developing north of Tulsa, so watch that area very carefully today. The main complex is going to be north and west. That is where the primary severe weather threat sits. Wind gusts over 75 miles per hour are possible with that line later today and hail up to 2 inches in diameter. Tomorrow, the severe threat shifts into the interior northeast, most of Pennsylvania, eastern Virginia, and the mid-Atlantic. Mark my words, 80-mile-per-hour winds are possible this evening as the squall line pushes through the enhanced risk zone. If you're near Kansas City or surrounding areas, have multiple ways to receive weather warnings active before this afternoon. If you are at an outdoor event tonight, know your shelter point storms are coming and they will be severe. Breaking right now, Severe Thunderstorm Watch 326 has been issued for 18 counties across south-central Iowa today. Watch 326 covers Adair, Adams, Appanoose, Clark, Decatur, Lucas, Madison, Mahaska, Marion, and Monroe counties in Iowa. Primary threats inside Watch 326 wind gusts to 70 miles per hour, hail up to 1.5 inches, and 10% chance of multiple tornadoes. Heads-up storm motion inside the watch is east at 40 miles per hour, meaning warning lead times will be shorter than average. If you're in Des Moines, Ottumwa, Indianola, Knoxville, or Pella heads up, your severe weather window is right now. Which means Iowa is already seeing what Missouri and Kansas will experience at full force later this afternoon and tonight. Mark my words, 50% chance of 10 or more severe wind events inside Watch 326, extremely active right now. Overnight storms push south into central Oklahoma 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m. storms keep working through the night, which means the thermodynamic environment stays loaded overnight, maintaining severe storm intensity into Sunday morning. Higher humidity and higher storm fuel south of the main front keep overnight storms going longer than most people expect. At 4 a.m., storms could still be working through areas near Kansas City, 100% coverage across western Missouri tonight. This is going to be a very powerful line of thunderstorms by 10 p.m., stretching from Burlington to Wichita, Kansas Saturday. By 11 p.m. to midnight, that line moves toward St. Louis and Springfield, a significant line of severe thunderstorms. Big storms will rumble through Oklahoma and into Arkansas. Overnight, we wake up Sunday with the damage assessment coming in. The northern mode to this system shows big thunderstorms forming right now across Nebraska and southeast Kansas. Those storms are connecting with what the models show for the next few hours supercells are already verifying on radar. You can see the line of storms clearly yellow highlighted areas on radar, means 60 to 70 miles per hour wind gusts are happening. That line is going right through Kansas City. These storms will be packing one heck of a punch tonight across Missouri. We could see a couple of tornadoes embedded in this line of thunderstorms in addition to straight-line damaging wind gusts. By the early overnight hours, the squall line marches toward Oklahoma City, Jonesboro, and Evansville before weakening. It should be weakening as we go into Sunday morning, but damaging gusts continue toward Little Rock and Texarkana overnight. Now, Sunday's severe weather threat level 2 out of 5, almost identical to yesterday's pattern across the Northeast. A huge slight risk covers the central Catskills, southern tier New York through all of Delaware and most of Pennsylvania. Almost all of Maryland, sections of northern West Virginia, and central to eastern Virginia are inside Sunday's slight risk. This extends into northeastern North Carolina, very small sections of western Massachusetts, and Connecticut on Sunday. A marginal risk across the southern plains also exists for Sunday. Dallas, Fort Worth, and Shreveport are included. New York, Philadelphia, D.C. viewers, tell me your city in the comments for Sunday timing details and storm coverage below. Today we have a level 3 risk sitting in the middle of the country centered around Missouri, Iowa, and Illinois. Flooding threatens those same areas with some torrential downpours possible later today as the front overtakes a low in Kansas. A weak area of low pressure forming in Kansas is going to zoom east and convectively enhance the storm development today. From the Great Lakes back into the southwest and southeast, general thunderstorm activity covers the entire central tier. It is going to be nice up in the northeast and mid-Atlantic today, but unfortunately, severe weather returns there tomorrow. While the severe weather dominates the central states, extreme heat is building across the entire southern tier right now. Heat advisories cover Oklahoma, Arkansas, Mississippi, Georgia, and both Carolinas with heat index values reaching 108 to 109. Oklahoma counties under advisory include Kingfisher, Logan, Payne, Garfield, Grant, Kay, Noble, Alfalfa, Major, and Woods. Georgia sees heat index up to 105 across 40 counties. NWS Peachtree City issued the advisory through 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time tonight. North Carolina coast faces heat index up to 108 across Robeson, Bladden, Columbus, Pender, Brunswick, and Marlboro counties. Arkansas heat advisories hit 109 in Crittenden, Cross, and St. Francis, Lee, and Phillips counties. NWS Memphis confirmed today, which means the entire southern tier from Oklahoma through Georgia faces dangerous heat illness risk through Saturday evening. Heat index approaching 110 degrees across the south. It is going to be hot and miserable for anyone stuck outside today. Near Chicago, an isolated spin-up tornado or damaging wind gust is possible. Stay weather aware in Milwaukee and Madison. The risk around Chicago and Ottawa remains low but real anytime between 4 p.m. and about 11 p.m. tonight across that corridor. As we go into Sunday, the severe weather threat shifts to the southern plains and the east coast simultaneously. Thunderstorms will pull up through the northeast and into Canada, but a glancing blow allows organized severe weather. Enough shear exists to build an organized severe threat in the interior northeast and mid-Atlantic by Sunday afternoon. After that front pushes east, cooler conditions settle across the country, which means the storm track shifts south. Severe weather enhancements continue through the nation's midsection as we head into next week from this same pattern. Storms develop in eastern Ohio and western Pennsylvania by mid-afternoon Sunday, mainly with a damaging wind threat. By 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern Time, storms fire near Washington, D.C. and Allentown, producing downburst winds and isolated tornadoes. Those storms mature and move toward Philadelphia and the New York City region before midnight Sunday into early Monday. Thunderstorms also develop across the south Sunday evening before the pattern reloads for the next round midweek. Instability builds strongly across Oklahoma back through Missouri on Saturday. That is the atmospheric fuel for today. As the front pushes east Sunday, instability builds into the northeast enough for organized severe weather by afternoon. Storms try to bubble up in Alabama and the deep south wherever those clusters develop. They will pack a genuine punch. By 6 p.m. Sunday, a more organized area of storms stretches from Birmingham through Atlanta toward Greenville and Spartanburg. Storms near Virginia Beach, areas of Maryland, and eastern Carolinas show up on Sunday's radar projections clearly. How organized those storms become as they move into the Carolina Piedmont and Midlands will determine the Sunday damage. One more critical alert worth covering: a red flag warning has been issued for fire weather zones across southern Colorado. NWS Pueblo, Colorado issued the warning for fire weather zones 220 and 228 with winds gusting 25 to 35 miles per hour this afternoon. Relative humidity drops as low as 10%, which means any ignition source becomes an immediate wildfire risk today. Which means a combination of strong winds, low humidity, and warm temperatures drives extreme fire behavior today. Exercise extreme caution with any outdoor burning across southern Colorado and adjacent New Mexico through this weekend. This is the same ridge pattern driving the southwest heat dome. High pressure locks in heat and dries out the mountain west, which means fire weather and severe weather are happening simultaneously across the same country, just different regions. The risk across the southern plains Sunday will be generally low, but stay alert near Dallas-Fort Worth through the afternoon. Now, as we go into the middle of next week, the severe weather threat is going to quickly and dramatically increase again. Tuesday across the Ohio Valley and Midwest, a weak surface low in the upper peninsula of Michigan sparks the next round. A stronger upper-level low over Canada could allow enough divergence and low-level jet energy for a couple of tornadoes Tuesday. Heads-up southwesterly flow in the low-level jet can crank supercells, but these will be small, fast-moving cells. The risk of strong tornadoes Tuesday would be very low, but it is something we need to watch as it develops. What is a lot more concerning is Wednesday a low-pressure system develops near Minneapolis and Fargo with very strong winds. The low-level jet stretching from Sioux Falls through Indianapolis to Pittsburgh is forecast to hit 70 knots by Wednesday. Flat out, the highest winds are going to be near Davenport and Columbia, Missouri by early Wednesday afternoon next week. With the southwesterly jet and seasonal humidity, we are going to get a significant severe weather threat from this system. Monday is going to be a stormy day across the Gulf Coast with some isolated severe weather developing in tropical moisture. Tuesday, a weak system near Michigan might just be enough for a few storms near Milwaukee or even near Detroit to fire. Wednesday is when the organized severe weather begins in earnest with damaging winds, large hail, and tornadoes on the table. That severe weather threat should rapidly increase during mid to late Wednesday afternoon with a significant wind threat, which means discrete supercells out front of the line will produce the risk of strong tornadoes from this powerful system. This low is forecast at 990 millibars, a fairly strong low-pressure system for this time of year. Overnight Wednesday into Thursday, the damaging wind threat continues over Kentucky, southern Indiana, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. The SPC did mention that the risk area will likely shift in future outlooks. We will probably see upgrades coming for Wednesday. Assuming things continue to look the way they do right now, I think Wednesday looks really concerning for the central states. Severe weather will continue far into the end of June. This El Nino pattern is keeping the storm track persistently active. Temperatures are the big story across the South today, extremely hot with 90s across the entire board. Hundreds are showing up in the Piedmont of the Carolinas, and triple digits are forecast across the Southwest this afternoon. That cool down coming in across the north will feel genuinely good 60s in the Dakotas before warming up slightly tomorrow. The cold front pushes east, bringing cooler conditions to the Great Lakes and Northeast, a relief from this punishing heat. Various heat advisories cover the entire South with heat index approaching 110 degrees. Stay hydrated and check on neighbors. Cooler conditions settle across the Great Lakes and Northeast with time, so that is going to be a genuine relief by midweek. Instability across Oklahoma and Missouri this afternoon is the fuel that drives today's enhanced risk outbreak right now. As the front pushes east tomorrow, instability builds into the Northeast enough to sustain organized severe weather Sunday. The upcoming Wednesday severe weather threat could bring another outbreak. A potentially significant setup is taking shape, which means 3 significant severe weather days inside a 10-day stretch that is remarkable for the middle of June. The SPC will likely shift risk areas and upgrade outlooks for Wednesday as model data continues to sharpen through the weekend. Mark my words, June 2026 is on track to become one of the most active severe weather months on record. 6.4 million in enhanced risk Saturday, 54 million for Sunday. Wednesday's concerning signal building. 3 simultaneous weather threats, severe storms, extreme heat, and fire weather across 3 different regions today. Know your threat window, know your shelter plan, know where the people you love are spending this Saturday afternoon. The forecast gave you everything you need, no two ways about it. The rest is your call starting right now tonight. Stay weather aware this weekend. The atmosphere is not letting up, and neither should your alert systems across the heartland.